Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning. Combat Conversation fam, what's good today? My man Vince, what's good, baby? How you be, man? Oh, man, what's happening, y'all? Look, how y'all feeling this morning? Y'all feeling good, man? I'm feeling good, man. A lot of good vibes from yesterday carrying over into today. Yesterday was real good, man. Got up in the morning, me and my wife acting silly, chasing each other around the house like we usually do, just being our silly selves. Then left there. My older brother's birthday was Wednesday, so we had a small get-together yesterday. So left and went to hang out with him for a little while. And then left there to come home and watch a great night of fights. Man. That was dope, man. Just all around good vibes yesterday, man. Listen, last night's fights with an S, plural. We got quite a bit to talk about, man. So I don't know, man. We can talk about we will talk about the results of UFC 253 that took place last night. That was a bomb burner. That joint was dope. We had a card on Showtime Boxing last night that we will discuss as well. We also will talk briefly about the possibility of I had to laugh while I'm saying this. The possibility of Manny Pacquiao fighting Conor McGregor. We will discuss the probability in regard to the possibility of whether or not that might happen. I couldn't even say that with a straight face. But nevertheless, we will talk about it. And we will also take a look at a card that the UFC is hosting next Saturday on October the 3rd. They will have another UFC fight night, as the UFC usually does, while they're keeping the ball rolling. So, last night, man, oh man. So, it was a highly anticipated main event. Both the main event and the co-main event, in my opinion, were very, very highly anticipated. Took place last night, and the card was a pretty good card. In a whole, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I saw most of it. I got home last night a little late, as hanging out with my brother. The card went as expected. It did not disappoint. So we can start with the main event last night, which was the champion, the middleweight champion, Israel, the last stylebender Adesanya, beating Paulo Costa by second round TKO. You had two undefeated fighters last night who finally caught up with each other, and obviously, as the saying goes, somebody's O has got to go. And Paulo Costa's O left by the means of TKO. He caught a bad one last night. Man, listen, just thinking of how the fight started, coming out the gate in the first round, Israel Adesanya pretty much picked him apart. You could see Adesanya from the giddy up, straight out the gate, implementing his game plan. And I'm just saying this through assessment and observation. Paulo Costa being the big, I mean, they both are, well, let me say not both. They weigh around the same amount. Costa is a solid, came in last night at a solid 185. Israel Adesanya being the smaller, slimmer guy, maybe a few inches taller, not by much. I'm sure the reach advantage was significant, but the height, not too much. But they were only 1 pound difference. Costa, 180, listed at 185. Adesanya, listed at 184. I'm not sure where Israel Adesanya puts all of that 184, but that's what the scale said. And with Costa, I know he's I believe he is a black belt in BJJ. I know he is a BJJ guy. He's a Brazilian, so he gets BJJ points like off the rip. But with him being the brawler and likes to throw them, I mean, this guy's a meathead. He's huge. He's a big guy. He's a big, solid 185. And with him being the brawler, having the knockout power that he did, him wanting to plant that lead leg and commit to throwing the power shots, Israel saw the opportunity, kicking that lead leg. He wore that leg out. I mean, dude was trying to break that leg like some dry spaghetti. And the game plan paid off. He as the fight went on throughout the first round, lasted only 2 rounds. And as the fight went on through that first round, you could see that the more pressure Israel put on that front left leg, the more reluctant and more hesitant Costa was to be the aggressor and trying to close the distance between him and Israel. And it worked. And he picked Costa apart. And for that was pretty much how the first round went. You can see that, and this is just my opinion, that Israel was in his head after that first round. When the second round began, Costa came out implementing his game plan. I guess maybe a bit refreshed and revitalized, kind of rebooted the game plan and became more of the aggressor, closing the distance where he had him up against the cage for maybe 2 or 3 seconds. Wasn't long, but enough to try something. And then even in the center of the ring where he was able to grasp him and close the distance. And even then, Israel was able to fire back. Hit Costa with a head kick that opened him up. He was leaking for a little bit. My man Dwight, yo, you came in at the right time, bro. We talking about last night's main event. So even for that brief moment when he was able to close the distance for those few seconds, Israel was able to give him maybe a few of them phone booth shots. It's just to see the work of art that Israel was able to paint the picture with those strikes, man, and implement his game plan. It was a beautiful thing. My man Dwight, Izzy beat up the guy who was supposed to bully him. Yes, he did. You can be bigger, but that don't mean you'll win. Randy showed us this versus Tim the Maniac. And you know what? Before you came on, I was just saying about making a reference between, the appearance of him being bigger in contrast to the numbers. Costa came in. Hey, Miss Karen, that's my baby. How you doing? She's such a sweetheart. Hey, Miss Karen, good to see you, baby. Israel came in at, Costa came in listed at 185. I mean, they're middleweight, so that's why we have weight classes. The difference in weight is not going to be super significant. That's the whole purpose of having the weight classes. Costa came in listed at 185. Israel came listed at 184. That's a 1 pound difference. But if you look at the two of them, Stylebender is more of the sleek, skinny, slim. I don't know. Again, I'll say it again. I don't know where he puts that 184, but I'm telling you, he listed at 184. Now, you can see the 185, and Costa is, for all practical purposes, a meathead. This guy is a bruiser. He's a big cut-up 185. But on paper, there's only 1 pound difference between the two of them. But as you said so eloquently, Dwight, the 1 pound difference, as it appeared last night, looking at the two of them, you didn't see much of a difference last night. And Israel's game plan that he implemented last night was evidence of that. Man, I'm just amazed at how well he was able to beat that leg up, that lead left leg, man. And then he came out second round, a little bit more of the same. Caught him with the head kick. I think it made him, caught him maybe like above the eye. No, I'm sorry, it was, if I remember correctly, it was over his right eye. Kicked him, head kick, left leg, caught him over the right eye, opened him up. He was leaking a little bit. Wasn't nothing, didn't appear to be nothing like super significant, but he, hey, my man Dwight, halfway don't even know how Costa made weight. You know what? That's I guess at this point, post-fight, that's left to be determined. But yeah, you're right. My man, who's this? David G. Nolasco. My apologies if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. I'm just reading it as I see it on the feed. I was shook. Costa was locked up like a Superman. Appreciate your comment, brother. And I totally agree. I called it before the fight. For those of you who were tuning in last Sunday, I predicted Israel would win, but I did not predict him to win in that manner. I predicted that he would win via unanimous decision. That was my prediction. I did not see it happening like that. Am I surprised? I'm not sure surprised is the word I'll use, considering Israel's skill set. But I can't act like I'm not factoring in Costa's resume in regards to KO ability when I say that. I'm not sure, man. I mean, but my opinion or no one else's will change the outcome of last night's event. Costa was made of concrete that night. How did he survive the flush head kick from Izzy? It caught him. He caught him flush, man, and it opened him up. And it didn't look like it was in his eye, like, he was having trouble seeing due to it, but you can clearly see the effect it had on him. And I think now speaking of surprise, I have to be honest in saying, I think Costa was surprised. I think Costa was surprised at the, I'm not going to say striking ability, because up until this point, Israel has made his striking ability known throughout his tenure here in the UFC and even pre-UFC. I think that he was more so surprised at his failure to implement his game plan, which is usually in Costa's stance, pushing people up against the cage, as the one brother said, bullying him and just pretty much imposing his will on his opponents. And Israel wasn't having any of that last night. I was surprised Costa didn't go right after him. I mean, he was on Romero bumper like the whole fight, but he played it sweet here. I agree. I think that was more so out of, even though they talked as much trash as they did, I think that was more so out of respect for his respect for Israel's striking ability. He might not like Israel, but Acosta wasn't stupid either. And I think that was more so him playing it safe. Unfortunately, it was to his detriment. I think that he was doing that. Again, this is just my opinion. I think that he was doing that to try to wait and be patient to have an opportunity for him to do his usual thing, for the opportunity to present himself from Israel. And unfortunately for Costa, Israel didn't do that. Not only did Israel not do that, he was able to not do that and at the same time force his game plan onto Costa. Man, oh man. I think the lack of this is the brother David again. I think the lack of checked kicks stole Costa's power and confidence. I'm not sure at what point you came in. I totally agree. I made mention earlier when I first started about how Costa is such a bruiser type fighter. He likes to commit to throwing the power punches. Power punches force you to commit. When you commit, that leaves you open for counters. Not so much that it was a counter thing in Israel's stance, but him throwing the power punches and committing, you have to plant that lead leg. You can't throw that power punch without doing that. Israel saw that, and I'm assuming that was part of his game plan, with him putting that lead leg out there like it was, it was like bait on the string for a fish. And Israel saw it, and he went for it. I mean, who wouldn't? And it just so happened that Israel was able to implement his game plan more efficiently and more effectively than Costa was. Thus, you have last night's results. I don't know, man. Just the style bender is such an awesome fighter, man. Like, wow. But after spending pretty much a full first round on beating up Costa's leg, he finished him off in the second round, man. Another part of Israel's strategy that I noticed that was obviously very effective is him being able to keep the distance. Because of the reach advantage. We talked about the size earlier. They both, even though they looked significantly different in size, there was only 1 pound difference. Costa listed 185. Israel Adesanya listed 184. This guy has to be the smallest 184 pounder I've ever seen. The problem is he don't fight like it. The problem is you don't fight like a small 184 pounder. The thing that I loved how he was able to use his reach advantage. With him being the small, let me see, and 0 level changes. That surprised me the most from Costa. You know what? I would agree with that as well. And I'm saying that because as much as, let me pull Costa's tab up here. As much as we are used to seeing Paulo Costa pummel guys to death, on paper, you know, Paulo Costa is a jiu-jitsu guy. Give me 1 second here. I usually keep my tabs up, but I'm going to pull Paulo Costa's tab up now. And 0 level changes, that surprised me the most from Costa. When they were clinched, Costa made no attempt to take it to the ground. I agree. I think that was mostly because, one, Israel wasn't allowing him to, and 2, Costa being in the mind, even though he's a ground guy. I'm looking at Costa's tab now. Costa has 13 wins up until last night, just the 1 loss. 11 of those 13 wins were by KO. Only 1 by submission and 1 by decision. But now looking at Costa's resume, he is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That makes him a top-level grappler. Now, a top-level grappler, and his resume dictates it, a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighting out of Belo Horizonte, Minas Gerais, Brazil. So a top-level grappler who only has 1 win by submission. Think about that for a second. We understand why. Just looking at the guy big, the guy's a meathead. He connects in your sleep. So I get it. But, I mean, it just goes to your point, Brother David, if you're still watching. I wonder why. A top-level grappler with only 1 win by submission and 11 of his 13 wins by KO. Now, just meditate on that for a second. And again, to your point, you would think that with that him having that high skill level of being able to fight on the ground, where were the level changes? And they were non-existent last night. I don't know. I got nothing. I got nothing. Yeah. Costa, he looked as if, coming out in the second round, he looked as if he wanted to apply more pressure, maybe. It just wasn't effective. And he had Israel up against the cage, I'll say maybe 5 seconds at the most. It didn't last long at all. Israel was able to wiggle his way out of it. Caught Israel again, close quarters, kind of maybe almost toward the center of the ring. Not only this time did Israel get out of it, he was able to pepper him up maybe 2 or 3 times. Just an awesome performance by Israel Adesanya last night. Awesome championship level performance. Now, something Israel said towards the end of that fight. We got so many things to talk about. We got to talk about these fights. We got to talk about Showtime boxing last night. But I don't want to get too sidetracked. Excuse me. Israel said at the post fight. For those of y'all, keep the comments coming, man. Y'all always got the Facebook live feed jumping. Keep the Facebook live feed jumping. Keep the IG live feed jumping. You can always call in and talk to me, 516-590-0996. Again, that's Combat Conversation. Come holler at your boy, 516-590-0996. But speaking of Israel Adesanya's post-press conference, excuse me. When I get tongue-tied, that means I need more coffee. Pardon me for 1 second. All right, I'm good. So he said, I still don't like him. This is Israel Adesanya speaking last night. I still don't like him. I don't know him personally. I don't wish he dies or anything. He's still alive. I let him be alive. This is what Israel Adesanya was saying after the fight. I did not see Paulo Costa's post-fight press conference or interview, if they did give him one after the fight. I was tired. I was running around all day yesterday, and I'm not sure if I fell asleep on that part, but I did see Israel Adesanya's. He said that this is the game we play. This is violence, and I told you guys that it was going to be violent, and I said it. It's going to be violent, and it's going to end fast, and that's what I did. I'm fresh. I can go next weekend. I can go anytime. I want to spend some time with my family because it's been a crazy year, so I want to go spend time with my people. Something else he said. He said, I've been telling you guys, but everyone thinks, like Roy Jones said, y'all must have forgot because of what happened last time. I'm assuming he's referring to his fight with Yoel Romero. I had to remind the world who was the best. He said also, I've already DM'd Jared Cannonier. Now that's a little intriguing. He said, I've DM'd Jared Cannonier. He's a great dude. I like his energy. I told him, you beat Rob Whittaker and you're next. If he beats Rob Whittaker, he's next. He deserves it. The middleweight division is, I don't think it's going to turn into a bit of an enigma because you have Israel solely sitting at the top right now. Rob Witt, he's correct. Folks did forget. I think there were a few who got reminded last night. Again, I predicted him winning. I just did not predict him winning like that. I did not see that coming at all against such a bruiser like Costa. I picked Israel to win by unanimous decision, not by second round TKO. Looking at the middleweight rankings, again, I always remind everyone that the UFC's ranking structure gets adjusted every Wednesday/Thursday. Of course, you have the champ sitting at the top, Israel, the style bender. Rob Whittaker, who is going to fight, Rob Whittaker ranked at number 1, who is going to fight number 3 ranked Jared Cannonier. That's going to be an interesting fight as well. And I think I'm not going to call that one yet. Because I'm sure Jared would like a title shot. I'm also certain Rob would like a rematch. Especially considering how that fight ended between Israel and Rob. You got number 2, Paulo Costa, who I'm sure is going to drop down. But other than that, I'm trying to think who else is in the middleweight division is going to be a valid contender to go up against Israel. You got 4, Jack Hermanson. I mean, you never know. Yoel Romero, who he's beat already, and he's also lost to Paulo Costa. Now, Yoel Romero is a dog. So you never know. Yoel Romero can fight you 5 times, and he can lose 5 times, and he will fight you like a dog closely all 5 of those times. That's just the type of fighter Yoel Romero is. So you never know. There's always that slim chance that your Romero can win. But then again, he already beat Romero. You got Darren Till. Kevin Gastelum, nah. Chris Weidman, nah. Uriah Hall, no. Then you go down to the 11s on down to the 15s. Shabazian, Brad Tavares, Vittori. And I'm just trying to figure out who would be next. If my man Dwight, if Cannonier wins convincingly, I'd give him the shot. If he wins, period, I gotta be honest. If he beats Rob Whittaker, period, I'd give him a shot. Even if he wins by split decision, because I feel as though with him ranked 3, Paulo is 2. Paulo's going down. Rob Whittaker is number 1. if he jumps up and beats #1 ranked contender, I feel as though he earns that shot. Convincingly, in my opinion, would just be a bonus. Again, that's just my opinion. But I feel as though if got tongue tied, excuse me. If Cannonier wins, he deserves that shot. I think that would be a good matchup for Stylebender. I don't think he'll beat Stylebender. I think he has the ability to make it a fight, entertaining fight. I do. Which is one of the reasons I'm assuming why Israel wants to fight him. But now that also makes me think about the future. This is just me thinking, in the future, hypothetically, I guess. Let's just say that happens and Israel does beat Cannonier. After that, post-Cannonier victory, who else in the middleweight division, what else there is left for Israel to do other than multiple rematches? I guess that'll be left to be determined, I guess. But, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. As usual, tell me what you guys think, man. Facebook family, Instagram family. Call up if you feel like it. Talk to your boy. Let me know what's on your mind. 516-590-0996. Also on the UFC card last night, we have a newly crowned UFC light heavyweight champion. Now, this is the one that I got wrong. Got a real quick comment. If Bobby Knuckles beats Cannonier, that rematch is a natural progression. 100%. I agree. And you can't rule Rob. They call him Bobby Knuckles for a reason. Let's be honest here. So you can't rule him out. And I'm just giving him. I'm giving him strength. I'm giving him credit. Off the strength of his resume and how everybody knows how tough Rob Witt is, man. So I think it's going to be an interesting fight. If Bobby Knuckles beats Cannonier, that rematch is a natural progression. But I think Rob has way more pressure than Jarrett in this fight. If he loses, it's going to send him so far down in the rankings. Yes, it is. Hard call. Could see him jump for something big. He did mention Jones. Okay, so David, your comment first. And you know what? I agree with you. I agree with you for maybe a slightly different reason. I think that not only will he go down in the rankings, looking at Rob Witt's tenure and his age and the amount of punishment that the dude's Bobby Knuckles. I think he's starting to get to a stage in his career where he might have to start addressing father time. So that will make it much more important for him to beat Cannonier if he wants to get another title shot, which could possibly be his final shot at a title. Or to get it back, so to speak. I don't know, man. I think that's going to be an interesting fight as well. For now, for my man Dwight, hard call. Could see him jump for something big. He did mention Jones. But that's scrap now. He did mention Jones, but Jones, remember, moved up as well. So, and we know Israel ain't moving up to no heavyweight. Let's come on. So if both of those fighters' intentions are true, we're most likely not going to ever see that happen. Because the gap between the two now will be too significant. Jones is moving up to heavyweight. And let's just say Israel did decide to move up to light heavyweight. He got a whole nother group of monsters to deal with now. You got Blachowicz. You got Reyes. This is not the last we've seen of Reyes, which we'll address in a second. Just looking at the light heavyweight rankings, if Israel did decide to move up, you got the new champ, Blachowicz. Hope I'm saying that right. Excuse me. You got Santos, Reyes. Still got Glover Teixeira. He's dealing with father time, but he's still knocking dudes out. Anthony Smith. He's the light heavyweight version of Cowboy as far as, fighting and beatings. Johnny Walker is a guy that we need to keep our eye on. He's moving up in the ranks quickly. Don't forget Mauricio Rua. So, if Israel did decide to, not that Israel is not up for the challenge, but you got to remember that moving up in weight and putting on a few pounds, I'm sure we all can attest to seeing how that makes a difference. So that will be a whole new can of worms that Israel is willing to open up. But if John is moving up as well, we're not going to see that. We don't. I would willing to bet money John would never go to heavyweight, man. Excuse me. That's why I need coffee. I said that wrong. Israel's not going to heavyweight. Another comment from the brother David. I think the most beautiful part of Izzy being champ is that he is young, which means there is so much competition out there that has yet to make it into the UFC. I totally agree. He will have many entertaining fights to come. I totally agree. The only factor I see in that is the dispensation of time. And I say that because of how much time it would take for those rising stars to get up to the champion. And not that it would take a long time. I don't think it would. But one, the amount of time it would take for them to, I guess, move those guys that are sitting up under championship level out of the way, the top level of the ranking structure. And two, how many of those competitors that you have that will be able to reach that level. So those are the only two factors I see that are involved in what you just said there, but I totally agree. That just, it changes the dynamic of the divisions when you think about, moving the chess pieces around on the board. It just makes you think. And I'm saying it now because I'm thinking about, we were getting ready to talk about Blachowicz. Why I just so feel uncomfortable saying his name like I'm getting it wrong. Jan Blachowicz beating Dominic Reyes last night via second round TKO. This is the one prediction that I got wrong. I had Reyes beating him last night by maybe late round TKO, maybe fourth or fifth. That was my prediction. Hey, I can't get them all right. But I did. I had Reyes winning that fight. And Blachowicz went into the fight as an underdog, and he went in there and took care of business and got work done. So because of that, we have a newly crowned UFC light heavyweight champion. And again, this goes, things like this. We just spoke about that a second ago, moving the chess pieces on the board. It changes the dynamic of the division. So before we go into that dynamic, just a couple notes about last night's fight. Give me 1 second here. Where are you? All right. Anyway, you know what? And with me picking Reyes to win that fight, it makes me look at and consider how much of an underdog Blachowicz was going into last night's fight. I should have bet Brother Dwight. I was hollering Jan for the win, shocked the world. Hey man, if Dwight want to give away money, don't stop him, bro. You should. Hey Dwight, if you give away money, Dwight, you get my cash app is Billy Jitsu. If you giving away money. Don't feel bad, man. I picked Reyes to win that fight too, so we in the same boat. Again, you can't win them all, but that you would have made $100 last night, Sir David. But he went into that fight significant It was my understanding that he went into that fight a significant underdog. I don't think anyone will overlook him anymore, not anytime soon. And the means at which he acquired the knockout win, that was a sweet KO, man. It surprised the hell out of me. But he just looked really good last night. Jan did. He looked really, really good. Reyes came to the fight, sizable favorite. And I'm assuming, looking at his resume and his fighting ability, that paired with him coming so close to beating John Jones in his previous fight for that light heavyweight title, there were a lot of people who felt as though that he beat John Jones in that fight. My man Dwight, I get yelled at for getting Paige beat the Brazilian chick. I can't bet for a minute She got clapped in round one. Yeah, she did. I stopped betting a long time ago, man. My wife told me hang it up. I sucked at it. So, hey, okay. Sometimes you got to take the L. You know, I took enough to know that I knew my limitations. Let me put it that way. Man, I'm just thinking about how unlikely people thought that it was Jan would win. Came out early showing his power in the first round. That kick, that was like a left kick he hit him with in the body. Man, that joint hurt me. Man, I suck too, obviously. And that's okay, bro. It's okay. Reyes came out in round two. Again, it seemed like somebody else, another fighter, coming out in round two, with him, and I'm assuming his corner, seeing how round one went with him being, so to speak, unsuccessful as he was, came out being more the aggressor. And it did not work out in his favor. Blachowicz came right back with the flurries. Busted his nose up kind of bad too. Busted Reyes' nose up pretty bad. And it seemed like his eye was kind of jacked up at the end of that exchange, like Reyes' eye was. Then after that, about 4 minutes into the second round, the overhand left caught Reyes, legs turned into wet noodles, and thence you have the newly crowned champion. Man, Blachowicz goes to 27-8. That was his fourth win in a row. And with that fourth win, he acquires the light heavyweight strap. Unfortunately, Dominic falls to 12-2, losing 2 straight. Both of those fights were title shots. Speaking namely of the previous fight he just had with Johnny Bones Jones. Again, a lot of people feeling as though he won that fight, but nevertheless, we're here, or we're there, referring to last night, and he got taken out by Jan Blachowicz. There you have it. Man, that was those two fights, man, I don't know, man. That surprised the hell out of me. The Jan Blachowicz fight surprised me because I picked Reyes to win, and the Adesanya fight surprised me because although I picked Adesanya to win, I did not pick him to win like that. I gotta say it again, did not see that coming. I had him pegged to win by unanimous decision, and he surprised the hell out of me. But it was a pretty dope card last night. So also on that card, we had, Brandon Royal defeated Kai Kara France. Second round submission. That was a pretty sweet guillotine choke. Reyes, my man Justice, what's good, baby? My man, he on here every Sunday. Love that brother. Reyes got killed by that power. Yes, he did. Again, I picked Reyes to win. And I said that understanding Jan's power, but I thought that Reyes would attack differently, maybe the level changes, get him on the ground. I thought it would be too much for Jan, and I was wrong. Let me see, we got a couple comments here. The brother David, I will say Jan breathed in the moment and manifested the W last night. Calm, cool, and collected. He did seem quite relaxed. He was all business in that fight. I think Reyes just got overwhelmed with the moment. Maybe a bit arrogant. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Maybe a bit arrogant because he went 5 rounds with Johnny Bones Jones. I can see that, again, because a lot of people thought he won that fight. But Jan was a different monster. Slow, graceful attacks that landed with precise devastation. I was impressed. I was thoroughly impressed with his performance last night, I must admit. My man Dwight, I did have Jan winning that. I had a decision, though. I'm sorry, excuse me. His confidence showed through during the fight. Yes, it did. I don't know, man. Maybe the expectation after seeing him, maybe it was the expectation of what I thought, or what quite a few people thought that Reyes would do because of the John Jones fight. After seeing how he performed versus a GOAT, and that might have gone to the cockiness that the brother David was saying. After seeing how he performed against a GOAT like Johnny Bones Jones, I think that set the level of expectation to a high bar, which is probably why he went into the fight so highly favored. And that could have possibly backfired. Just being honest, man, I don't know. But also on the card, Brandon Royal beat Kai Kara France. Pretty sweet guillotine choke. Ketlin Vieira beat Sijara Eubanks, unanimous decision. Hakeem Dawodu beat Zubaira Turgov by split decision. Brad Riddell beat Alex Da Silva by unanimous decision. Jake Matthews. Now, Diego Sanchez. Jake Matthews beat Diego Sanchez by unanimous decision. We'll get to that in a second, too, because we're going to talk about Conor McGregor, and I'm not going to call him antics, but he's back in the MMA/boxing news. He said something regarding Diego Sanchez that we'll hit on in a second. But Diego, I don't know, man. He lost last night by unanimous decision. Might be time for Diego to hang him up. I don't know. That's a matter of opinion. You never know. Ludovic Clean, beat Shane Young by first round TKO, and William Knight beat Alexa Kamura by unanimous decision. Mean Hakeem, another one I picked to win. I like that dude, man. Isn't he from like the islands or something? I'm trying to think where is it. Let me see. Don't nobody care about no damn Conor. Yes, Diego got you. Okay, so Mean Hakeem. I'm trying to remember. I think this kid is good, man. He has a lot of potential. Is he from the islands or is he from Africa? I can't remember. Let me see. Canada by way of Nigeria. Got it. Okay, my man Justice. Okay. His debut, I'm sure you're referring to Hakeem, was against a wrestling monster, and he earned the respect during. I remember that from a guy who, if I'm not mistaken, didn't make weight. Yes, that is correct. And Israel Adesanya complained about that last night because he's a teammate of his. And I think that's who he was talking about. I'm not sure. But, a lot of those guys from up there, Nigerians, they stick together, man. They have like a brotherhood, which I think is pretty cool as well. Dang, I lost my train of thought. What was I getting ready to say? Diego Sanchez. Well, I'll wait till we talk about Conor because, yeah, that's a whole nother thing. All right, so results from Showtime Boxing last night. Y'all know y'all can always call in, man, if y'all feel like it. But keep the live feed popping. Facebook Live, Instagram Live, or call in 516-590-0996. The Charlo brothers, both Charlo brothers were on the card last night. It was pretty cool, man. One of them had a decent fight. One of them fought somebody that looked like they didn't really belong in the ring with them. I don't know. Jermel fought Jason Rosario, and Jamal, the other twin, fought Sergey Derevchenko. In the first main event, Jamal was the one that fought. Jamal fought Derevchenko, outpointing him basically for unanimous decision win. With the win, he retained his WBC title. He's the older brother, but I guess like a few minutes or an hour or whatever of the twins. He looked really good last night with his win. I'm just trying to figure out what would be next for both of these guys, man, because they've already determined that they're not going to fight each other. So, just what would be next for them at that 160-pound weight limit? Come here, Dewey. What you want? Now, Sergey, with his last loss, he falls to 13-2. Now, this is Sergey's third loss in his third loss in a row, and also his third loss in his, in his 4 fights. He's lost the 3 straight attempts to acquire a title. That's what I meant by 3 straight. Excuse me, I almost got tongue-tied. So he just has not been lucky and or able to get the W in these title shots, man. Canelo and Triple G, stop ducking. You know what? I'm a fan of both of them. So, you know, I want to agree. I really do. But there's so much more politics involved when it comes to boxing. So it's hard to say. I don't know, man. Like, well, you know, let's get into that in a second. But this dude, Sergey, he's lost 3 straight title attempt fights. He lost to Danny Jacobs back in October of 2018. He was fighting for the IBF middleweight title. He lost to Triple G in October of 2019. They were fighting for the IBF and IBO middleweight titles. And then last night, he lost to Jamal for the WBC middleweight title. Y'all, excuse me for a second. My 2 pit bulls are over here acting like 2 babies. So, you know, they're being very spoiled right now, as you probably can see in the background. But Jamal, he goes to 31-0, and this is his 4th successful defense of his WBC middleweight belt. And I would like to see that happen, as regards to what Justice was saying. There's just so much politics involved, man. Now, for the other twin last night, for Jermell got a nasty TKO win fighting Rosario last night. Jason Rosario took him out with a nasty body shot in, like, what was it, the 8th? Yeah, the 8th round. And you can tell that body shot hurt him bad. Like, to the point where, like, he might have been, I've never known a body shot to, not that it's not possible, but the body shot to cause a seizure or to have somebody seize up in the ring like that. But he was clearly hurt. He just looked like he was just outclassed by the Charlo brother, Jermell. He pretty much beat him for those 8 rounds, man. The fight was just one-sided. You saw Rosario attempting his best to apply some pressure early, but to no avail. So Jermell, he goes to 34-1. He keeps his WBC light middleweight title, and with last night's win, he also acquired the WBA Super, the IBF, and the Ring Magazine light middleweight titles. Rosario, with that loss last night, he goes to 20-2 with 1 draw, and this was his first loss after 6 straight wins. So after earning a title shot with one of the Charlo brothers, he took a nasty, nasty L last night. That joint looked like it was painful. Now, I'm saying that because I've been, I don't know if his rib was broken. Listen, I've been both the giver and receiver of some nasty, nasty kidney shots, man. Like, I'm sorry, liver shots to be more particular. And you want to talk about something that is a excruciatingly painful feeling. Man, oh man. Yeah, that's a whole other topic. But so we were talking about when we brought up Diego Sanchez, we made mention of McGregor and his quote unquote antics as of late. We'll discuss that in a second. But first, I want to give a quick shout out to one of my sponsors. What do you want, Deuce? What do you want? Got to give Daddy a second, okay? One of my sponsors, the Lewis Financial Group with Russell. He is an authorized agent with Progressive Insurance, and this is the agency with the honesty and integrity that comes with a handshake. They represent a plethora of insurance carriers. There we go. Okay. Oh, my man Dwight. Liver shot, I think one of not the worst pains. I don't know if y'all got that Amber Alert, but just came through on my phone. Liver shot, I think one of, if not the worst pains I've ever felt. Took a kick, sparring, wanted. Same here. Yeah, and I did. I felt like I wanted to die. It is not. As far as combat sports, that's probably one of the most painful experiences I've had. Like even outside of that, I'm telling you, that is, man. Bro, I'm telling you, hurts. I'm sorry, I got interrupted. I'm sorry. So yes, the Lewis Financial Group with Russell G. Lewis, authorized agent with Progressive Insurance, an agency with the honesty and integrity that comes with a handshake. They represent a plethora of insurance carriers and financial services companies, including Progressive, as well as other carriers such as Foremost, Haggerty, American Collectors, Aetna, Assurant, Bankers Group, Universal Property and Casualty, Selective Flood, Ameriplan, Legal Shield, Transamerica, Nationwide, Victorian, College Funding Solutions, Alliance, Access Insurance, and much more. They're licensed in multiple states, including here in Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Arizona, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and Texas, so that they can help you across the US of A. You get the best of these major carriers and the expertise that comes with the Lewis Financial Group representing them. You can see more of what they do by visiting them online at www.lewisfinancialgroup.net, or you can call them up and get a quote, 443-622-0561, to speak to an agent Monday through Friday between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 6 p.m. They're available also on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Once again, that is the Lewis Financial Group with Russell G. Lewis, www.lewisfinancialgroup.net, or call them up, 443-622-0561. Great service. Sorry I got interrupted by that brief little Amber Alert. My man, Shaw. And when you get a chance, also, man, check out Redefined Leech Clothing. My man, support black-owned company, black-owned business. Brother makes good apparel. Sean, you can, man, post the link on one of these live feeds to your website, bro. You got my full permission. Post one of the links to the your clothing line on one of these live feeds, man. You have my full permission to do so. Either on the Facebook live feed or the Instagram live feed. It don't matter which one, but you can go ahead and post it, brother. Brother got some good stuff. Check him out. Now, we talked about McGregor earlier. So it looks as if there is a possibility, and I use that word possibility very loosely, that we have the chance that Conor McGregor might be boxing in a professional boxing bout Manny Pacquiao. Let me say that again. We have a chance that UFC star, former UFC star, so to speak, well, I don't know which way you want to go with this, Conor McGregor could possibly be fighting Manny Pacquiao. It's not a done deal yet, but it appears as if that they are currently in negotiations via both of their managers. The brother David Munguia is 35-0 and number one in WBO rankings. I think he should call out one of the Charlo brothers. I think that would be a good fight, man. Let me ask you, if you had to pick, which one do you think he would be a better matchup for? I think, and this is just my opinion, I think Jamal seems to be a little more, I'm not saying a better, maybe a little more of an aggressive fighter than Jermell is. Again, that's just my opinion. I think I would like to see him fight one of the Charlo brothers, man. Again, back to the politics. You never know. When you were talking about earlier about Triple G and Canelo being called out, if we can get rid of the politics in boxing, that would make for so many awesome fights, man. But nevertheless, you get what you get. That's the nature of the boxing world. That's currently the nature of their business. We'll see what happens. My man, Dwight, get them African boys ready because Conor going in the casket. Oh, the Afro-Noma meme dudes, man. Yeah, and listen, if Conor survives that fight, man, that's gonna be a bit much. My man, Big Blue, Darren, what's good, baby? How y'all see you, brother? Getting rocked by Money Jr. wasn't enough for Conor. Apparently, it was not. But we'll see how that pans out. But apparently, they are, via both of their managers, they are both in negotiations to make this. I'm not sure why Conor McGregor would want to fight Manny Pacquiao, but hey, I don't know. I'm not sure. I would like to believe it's not a financial thing, because I'm sure McGregor is not really hurting for bread. At least I would like to believe he's not. McGregor said Friday that he wants to box Manny Pacquiao in the Middle East. Pacquiao's manager, his aide rather, Jake Johnson, he confirmed that they are in negotiations, and he said that if the fight does go down, now I think this part is pretty cool. He said that if the fight does go down, Pacquiao would use his earnings from the event to help support COVID-19 relief in the Philippines. I actually think that's pretty cool. So Pacquiao's not hurting for bread either. He's like, what, a senator? I know he's a politician. I want to say he's like some type of senator or government official over there in the Philippines. If I remember correctly, he is the sitting senator over there. My man Dwight, Pac taking days off his life. This ain't Mayweather with the jab of death. Pac taking it off. I wouldn't want to fight at MMA after Khabib beat me and swung on my team too. Hey, we'll get into that in a second, Dwight. Give me a second. I'm trying to see what would be a legit reason for them want to fight. Unless it's something I don't know about or we as fans aren't aware of. I don't think either one of them are hurting for money. And other with them, and it's not like this is an exhibition. This is going down as a professional fight on the record. So I don't know. But I'm assuming that more information will come out as we go along, as it gets closer to negotiations being finalized. I would like to believe more information will be made known to us fans. But as of right now, that's where we are. So after I got some of this report off of ESPN, it said that Attar, who represents both of these guys in regards to their boxing management, he told ESPN, I think he was speaking to Ariel Helwani, that he had talks with the UFC about McGregor's future. And on Friday, he said McGregor fighting Pacquiao in a boxing match was, in fact, one of the topics discussed. According to Attar, the UFC was on board with the idea. Now, in 2017, the UFC co-promoted, and they did, McGregor fighting Mayweather, along with Mayweather Promotions. It was a joint venture. Showtime and McGregor Sports Entertainment. So those were the promotion companies involved in that fight. You had UFC, you had Mayweather Promotions, Showtime, and McGregor Sports. And that fight ended up being one of the highest grossing combat sport events of all time. It absolutely did. They made dumb money off of that fight. So, and I'm sure that this fight would be just as lucrative financially as well, as far as pay-per-view draws. I don't think, depending on the status of the COVID-19 and what's going on at the time this fight is scheduled, we can't promise people that they will be able to allow fans into the venue and people can buy tickets. But the pay-per-view draws alone will get them bank off of this fight if they do go forward and schedule this. Now, following the Pacquiao fight, Attar said the plan was for McGregor to return to the UFC in 2021. Now, this is the thing when I was talking about Diego Sanchez earlier. It appears as if Dana and McGregor got to arguing about this, and some of the argument leaked online. There was some speculation as to whether or not McGregor wanted to come back and fight. He had to fight with Cowboy, and Diego Sanchez is looking for a fight at the time. This is how the story is going, allegedly. So he said that McGregor is saying that he wanted to fight as a fill-in. And in contrast to that, and I want to make sure I got this correct, Dana is saying that he was asking to fight Diego Sanchez. And Dana said he denied the Sanchez fight request because he is saying, and you as McGregor, why would you, being the number 2 ranked, I guess what, welterweight? What was he at that time? He was the, lightweight. It's Khabib's division. Number 2 ranked lightweight at the time, which he's sitting at number 5 right now. Why would you want to fight a 38-year-old non-ranked Diego Sanchez? So Dana denied the fight. So what McGregor did, McGregor went back and pulled up their DM conversation and started posting receipts online, talking about Dana's lying. So I'm not sure which way to go with this. Basically, the Conor is saying that Dana's lying about McGregor not wanting to fight. Conor said, I wanted to fight. I requested fights. I wanted to be a fill-in until you schedule my next fight. Dana is saying, no, you didn't. You lying. You wanted to fight an old Diego Sanchez. You ranked number 2. Why don't you fight somebody real? So then Conor came back with the receipts. It's like, yo, stop BSing. So I'm trying to look a little more into this to see which way this is going to go. Somebody's lying. I don't know, but I got to be honest. It don't look good on Dana's behalf because Conor came with quite a bit of receipts. Give me 1 second, y'all. The IG feed went down. They only give me 1 hour. So I got to reboot this back up. Bada bing, bada bam, bam, boom. This is my stepson right here. I'm trying to get him on the show, but he don't want to watch no fights.
Whoa,
I can't get him on the show if he don't know what he's talking about.
Listen, you know I work Saturdays at Outback Steakhouse.
He has a job, so he works now. But
I work from 6 to 11, and I really get off at like 12. I'll be home by like 12. You know, I'm a little tired sometimes. I can't watch the fight. You know,
I'm gonna get him on here though. I'm gonna get him on here. But nevertheless, the possibility of that fight is a real thing. Let me see. He should be ranked number 25. He better be. Let me see. It says Conor doesn't fight you unless you qualify for Medicare. Maybe that's why he wanted to fight Diego Sanchez, man. Let me see. He's better at pulling receipts than defending straps. You know what? I'm gonna leave that one alone. I'm not gonna say you. I'm not gonna say you're wrong. I'm just gonna leave it alone. He did do him kind of dirty though, didn't he? I'm just curious as to know what made them want to go forward with this if they are going to schedule this. That's one question. And looking at it through the aspect of Manny Pacquiao's side, I think that is very, very cool what he's doing, if that's the case, if he's going to give his proceeds to help COVID-19 relief in the Philippines. I think that's pretty dope. I didn't think that they would go through this to do that, but I got to be honest. They both know that this type of fight is going to be a money draw. It just sounds weird saying it, though. Like, really? Conor McGregor versus Manny Pacquiao? It just doesn't sound right, me saying it out loud, like how it sounds. But nevertheless, apparently, that's a possibility now. I have to be honest in saying, even though that Mayweather beat both of them, beat Pacquiao and beat McGregor, I honestly think that Pacquiao will beat him worse than McGregor did. I'm sorry. I think Pacquiao will beat him worse than I think Pacquiao will beat McGregor worse than Mayweather did. That's just my opinion. My man, Big Blue, I wasn't able to see the Charlo brothers fight last night. What happened? I'll give you a quick recap. They both fought last night. The first fight was Jermell versus the guy, the Russian guy? I think it's Russian. Sergey Dvorchenko. He pretty much outboxed him most of the fight. He won by unanimous decision, kept his belt. It was a pretty decent fight, but Jermell was dominant for pretty much most of the fight. The second fight, Big Blue, not so much. Jermell was fighting, Jason Rosario, and he pretty much beat the hell out of Rosario. Beat him, stopped the fight, TKO in the 8th round, hit him with a nasty body shot. Looked like he hurt maybe his ribs or his kidneys. Maybe it didn't look like the shot was far back enough to be a liver shot, but he was clearly hurt, like maybe medical attention type hurt. So I truly, sincerely hope that the brother's okay. I really, really mean that. But it just was not a good look for the brother. He was just outclassed. My man, Big Tim, I see you on board, baby. Pac throws a lot of punches. Yeah, he'll get beat worse. Jamel hit him with the liver. You think that was? It didn't look like it was far back enough to me. Just my opinion. It didn't look like it was far back. No, liver shots tend to hit you a little further. When you got that side area, and the liver shots a little bit further back on that side to me. Again, I've been the giver and the receiver. I don't want no smoke with nobody's liver shots. I don't know, but the dude was hurt, man. So if you heard that recap, Big Blue, a very successful night for the Charlo brothers last night. One was a little more brutal than the other, but they both came out with W's. Great night of fights last night. Thank you. I'm out of town. It's all good, Big Blue. It's all good. Where was I at? Oh, next week. I'm talking about next week real quick before we roll out. Next Saturday, we have the UFC Fight Night on deck. We have quite a few of the ladies will be in the building next Saturday. We have 2 bantamweight bouts on the card. You have number 2, Holly Holm, sitting at 13-5. She will be fighting number 6, Irene Aldana, sitting at 12-5. Holly, former bantamweight champ, Holly Holm, made her bones as the champion, beating Ronda Rousey. Holm, the former champ, is 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Her last fight was a unanimous decision win versus Raquel Pennington back in January. Aldana has won 2 straight with 5 of her last 6. So we also have another ladies bantamweight bout on that card. You have number 1 Jermaine de Randamie at 9-4. She will be fighting number 4 Juliana Pena, sitting at 93. So the ladies bantamweight division will be on full display next Saturday. De Randamie, she needs a win. She really needs a win. She won 5 straight, and then her most recent fight after that 5 straight win streak was lost to Amanda Nunes. That's back when she fought Amanda for the women's bantamweight championship. And I can't think of too many women at all who want smoke with Nunes. I might not want no smoke with Nunes. She is a former champ. She is in the inaugural UFC Women's Featherweight Championship. And she was later, I remember this too, she was stripped of that belt because she didn't want to fight Cyborg. Holly Holm is whack. Holly Holm is whack. Come on, give her a break, Tim. She's trying to get back in the W column, man. She's trying to get back to her former self. I remember she didn't want to fight Cyborg because Cyborg kept getting busted for getting caught with using all these PEDs. I remember that. So because she didn't want to go forward fighting Cyborg, they stripped her of that title. That was a bit much, but I have no respect for people that can't defend their championship at least once. No arguments there. I mean, that does say something about your championship status. I don't know. I mean, I think she's a good fighter. I don't think she's top tier. But that does say something about her. It does. My man, it says, David, my man, don't let this distract us from the fact that if Conor is looking for a boxing fight, then he has not been training for Khabib. We already know that, man. Come on. No title defense. He does not want that smoke ever again. Can you blame him? Can you blame him? We're talking about a guy. Listen, Khabib, the Eagle Nurmagomedov, he didn't say much before the fight. He just said, I'm going to get him. Got in the ring, wrecked Conor, then jumped over the cage and ran through the whole Ireland section of the arena by himself. That tells you everything you need to know about Khabib Nurmagomedov. What else you need to know? That speaks volumes right there. Good. She is. I agree. She is good, right? Not great. Hell no, he didn't even. No, he didn't. Oh, he's talking to David. No, he didn't. He doesn't want that smoke ever again. No, he don't. No, he don't. He sure don't. Son beat him and ran after the crew's dope. Right. Like, what kind of dude must you be to jump over the cage by yourself and run through somebody's whole crew? What that tells you what kind. Who wants smoke with a dude like that? But nevertheless, hey, that's what you get. Oh man, that's crazy. So that's what's on deck for next Saturday. Bellator also has 2 events. They have one Thursday, which is Bellator 247, and then they have another one on Saturday, October the 10th. Which is Bellator ES9. They are both being held in Italy. Nobody notable fighting on those cards. I think Paul Daly is fighting somebody on the one on the Thursday, October 1st. Yeah, I think so. But enjoying a good scrap, man, a good MMA scrap. So be sure to check those out. Yeah, so I definitely, I'll be back next Sunday. I'm here almost every Sunday. So we'll have quite a few things to talk about. We'll talk about the events of this week, and we will prep the listeners for the events next week. Always a pleasure, man. Love y'all. Y'all keep this Facebook Live feed jumping. Y'all had me dying laughing, man. So always a pleasure, man. My man Tim. Bro, Conor was trying to talk Khabib out of whipping his ass during the fight. Yeah, how'd that work out for him, Tim? How'd that work out for him? Oh, man. Y'all keep the Facebook Live feed jumping, man. So always keep it coming, man. Keep the Facebook Live feed on lit. The Instagram Live feed. Y'all can always call in every week, 516-590-0996, and talk to me. But I will see y'all next week. So until then, it's always a pleasure, man. And I will talk to you guys next week, family. We appreciate for your fun. I appreciate you, Justice, man. You show me love every week, bro. Always appreciate it, fam. Much love to you. I mean that. No cap. It's just business. Just business, man. You ain't gonna let Conor go, are you, man? It's all good, bro. I'll talk to y'all next Sunday, man. I'll see y'all, bro.